Hello there. We've got Nicole Nelson with us from our most recent season, season 11, and Taylor, who's my co-host for all these interviews. And we're going to just jump right in, Nicole. So tell us a little bit about Nicole.
Yeah, hello. My name is Nicole Nelson. I have been born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am 27 years old now, which feels very old. I know it's not, but that's where I'm at. And I work in elementary school administration. And a fun fact about me is I'm a semi-professional quad ball player for the Minneapolis Monarchs.
I'm gonna have to ask you what quadball is because I don't know what that is, but we'll do that
Yes,
later.
for sure.
So, Nicole, let's go back to season 11. How did you hear about SC and what were your initial thoughts about it and made you want to say submit on your application?
Yeah, so I didn't know that this like LRG world was a thing. In 2021, I had auditioned for a reality show and was spamming a producer's account as you do. And a friend reached out, or a person reached out, said, "Do you want to play this org?" I said, "Sure." I played it. I was terrible. I'm terrible with my phone. Got recruited to play this LRG called Outlast. Absolutely fell in love. And a couple people recommend trying out for a survival challenge. So I was like, I don't know what this is. Looked it up and I just fell in love. The intensity of the challenges, the people. I'm a competitor and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. So I applied for 2 seasons and then got cast last season and it was amazing.
So once you got the thumbs up that you're in, tell us anything you remember interesting or funny in the time leading up to you getting there.
Yeah, so I was training not only for my sport, but survival challenge. I was running more, lifting more. About a month before the challenge, I actually was at practice and completely threw my back out. I like tore something in my back. I was crooked. I couldn't walk for about 8 days. Like I was laying flat and I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to play. And thankfully I was fine, but it was so scary because it was literally like a month before. So that was a little nerve wracking. And then yeah, I ended up being fine and it was great.
Don't do that this year, please. Okay.
Oh, we're taking care of our bodies this year.
So you did all that preparation, you gave yourself some much needed back rest. Now talk us through the scene, your thoughts when you first arrived on location, and how are you feeling?
Oh my gosh, I can like still feel all of the feelings in my body. I actually drove that morning from Minneapolis, so I drove 6.5 hours to get to site, and I got there like 50 minutes early. And I was just like anxiously pacing down the street. There was no other cars, and I was like, I'm gonna do yoga. So I was doing yoga like in the gravel. People were driving by. And then finally I got the okay and I walked right up to the table and was the first one to do this walk. And it was surreal having watched all the seasons finally being there. And when we got to the place with the ponds, I was like, oh my God, this is like this is the place, this is the main event. So a lot of big emotions, anxiety, but overall just so much euphoric excitement.
So thinking back on all of that and everything that took place, favorite memories, favorite challenges that stood out, give us a few.
Mm.
John, there are too many favorite memories. I feel very blessed that our season was it was competitive, but we just had a lot of um, players that were just amazing humans. And so, I would have to say one of the tip top of my list is finding an ally in Kaylee and just like a lifelong girlfriend. It was just amazing to have someone you can trust and rely on. But on top of that, the final 8 of us did improv for like an hour and a half. We literally didn't talk strategy. We just did a whole improv performance, and I don't know how that could be beat. And the last thing on my list would have to be the Cambodia Trivia Night Challenge. That was so epic. One of my favorite challenges ever. So cool.
All right, well, it's not been that long since you played, so like, what takeaways did you take from playing in Survival Challenge, and what have you learned about yourself, connections that you've made that have just impacted you since you've left SC?
Yeah, I mean, it left a huge impact on me. The people that I played with, there's still a core of us that talk, pretty much weekly. And that's amazing to have created lifelong friendships. And going out there, people won't know this about me, but like I'm kind of a socially anxious person. I don't present that way, and I guess after playing Survival Challenge, I trusted myself a lot more. I kind of went there and I was like, oh, I'm not the best at things. Like, I'm competitive, but like, I don't know. And it kind of rejuvenated this confidence in myself. Like, no, Nicole, you can be good at things. You are good with people. And so I guess I left feeling like a better version of Nicole. So I had to thank Survival Challenge for that.
So fast forward another year. Now here we are. We're less than 80 days out and it's coming up quick. What's going through your head?
Oh, so much. I'm so excited. I am nervous. A lot of these people have like, they played a long time ago, but they know a lot of each other. And so that's nerve-wracking, but I guess I'm really excited. I've been ramping up my workouts, just ran 5 miles today. I've been like a crazy person buying puzzles left and right. Like I have so many random puzzles now that I've been doing because if anyone remembers, I did really bad in every puzzle challenge last year. Like people would give me hints and I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know how to do a puzzle. So just a lot of training. But overall, I'm just really excited and I can't wait. And it's going to come up fast. And you said less than 80 days. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm just really excited and trying to get my ducks in a row so I can play the best game possible.
We love having our ducks in a row, and sometimes there's a goose in there too. Uh, if you had to describe how you're going to tackle this season, this game, in one word, no explanation, what is that one word?
Wow. Hmm. I'm just going to say adapt.
Okay.
I'm
I
gonna
love
say
that.
adapt because that is, yeah, all I can say.
Yeah.
You, you'd mentioned practicing puzzles and stuff. Is there any challenge that you did in your season that you hope may make a return appearance or something you've seen somewhere else that you'd be like, I've always wanted to do that. I hope they do that this year.
Oh my gosh. I'm such a competitor. Like I like to do anything that's like obstacle course related. Um, for I would like to do a couple things again. Number one, I would like to do the one puzzle challenge that Kaylee and I weren't great at on my part. It was like with the ball and the maze. I'd like to redo that just for my own pride so I can show I can do it. Any shooting challenge, I would like to do the at sea challenge again because, I'm a small person, I'm 4'10", but that was fun to be like, I'm a powerful person. And last but not least, probably like get a grip. Hanging on that big pole would be so cool. Any like really massive endurance challenge, but I don't know. You guys throw really cool challenges out. I'm just excited to do any of them, honestly.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
We're here with Luke Rodwell from our most recent season, season 11 of Survival Challenge. Hey, Luke.
Hey, how you doing, John?
I'm doing well, thanks. Taylor and Isaiah are live stream extraordinaire hosts and video everything people and co-hosts of all the interviews will be running through our questions for Luke. So Luke, why don't you just start by saying a little bit about yourself and then they'll run with our questions from there.
Yeah, so I was on the last season of Survival Challenge season 11. I am currently living in Virginia Beach. I moved here a little over a year ago. Before that, I was in New Jersey. Before that, I was in Australia. I've done a couple of these games, three so far. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back out there this summer and having fun with it all.
All right. Well, Luke, let's go back a year because it's not that far. How did you originally hear about SC or Survival Challenge, and what were your initial thoughts that said, I want to do it?
Yeah, so I originally saw Survival Challenge pop up on Facebook way back in the day. I think I was in like a Survivor fan group on Facebook or something, or I saw an ad. Basically, it drew my attention straight away. And this was back when I was still living in Australia. So pre-2021, pre-COVID, it would have been 2018 potentially. And when I saw that post, I said in my mind, like, I am going to do that. I'm gonna sign up. I'm going to do it next summer. I'm going to do it as soon as I possibly can. So I wanted to come from Australia and sort of come to the US for a bit of a holiday, but have like the gem in the crown be doing survival challenge. Life just kind of did its thing. University life, studying, all that kind of took me away from it. And then COVID happened, and then we kind of bounced back. I got my feet wet with Sydney Survivor, and then always still had Survival Challenge in the back of my mind. And then I ended up moving to the US, and it became a whole lot easier. And I applied a couple times, and then managed to be the alternate, and then managed to get on.
So, what was going through your mind the moment that you? Oh, actually, I'm going to skip to that question, and then we're going to go back to the question I was supposed to say. So, what was going through your mind the moment that you stepped onto the field in Illinois for SC? Can you kind of paint a scene for us about what you were feeling, how you were experiencing it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not someone that is largely an anxious person, but I think that was probably one of the most anxious times that I have had in my entire life up until this point. Of course, everybody leading up to the weekend kind of runs all these different scenarios as to what is my game going to be like, how am I going to play, who am I going to meet. Are there people that I've maybe seen before, maybe not seen before? How am I going to gel with them also? I was incredibly anxious, as everybody else was, I'm sure. And I was waiting at Starbucks for a little while beforehand, and that didn't do me any good because I was just running all these scenarios in my mind, just sending myself stir crazy. So, yeah, I mean, when I think about my first moments last year, it is kind of a lot of anxious thoughts that come back to mind. But I think when I started to see everyone and when I started to see people that I had seen play before, I was kind of removed from that mindset a little bit and kind of just so eager and excited to play because it felt like in a sad little way that I was seeing in my mind celebrities, right? I'd seen all of you guys play before, and then I saw you guys all with the cameras and everything, and it really was like this surreal experience that even though I was really anxious, it kind of took me out of that real quick.
Okay, well, now jumping back to the question beforehand, leading up to your initial participation, do you have any funny, interesting stories, things that happened, things that you did to get ready?
Yeah, I mean, I of course watched everything I could. I didn't do anything special to train or prepare beyond watching everything I could and writing a whole bunch of notes, trying to study who the previous winners were, so that when we had some sort of survival challenge trivia challenge, which we did, that I was ready for that. And so I don't have anything funny, anything interesting. I have kind of like a scary story. I thought at one point I wasn't going to make it. I was flying Virginia Beach down to Florida, connecting through to Chicago. Kind of a strange way to do it, but that's what was going to be the cheapest. And so I flew Virginia Beach down to Florida pretty successfully. And then my connecting flight to take me to Chicago was coming from the Virgin Islands, and they had like a hurricane or a cyclone or something through there. So my flight was getting delayed, ended up getting cancelled. And I was texting John while this happened. I'm like, hey man, I just want to keep you up to date. I I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna make it, but I just want to be honest and like I'm going through some struggles right now. So I ended up booking another flight, pulling my bag, booking it out of the airport to another terminal, going back through security. In my mind, just repeating like, I can't miss this, I can't miss this, I can't miss this. This is like the one thing that I want to do. I eventually made it. I eventually got into Chicago. As soon as I was in Chicago, that's when I could start to breathe again. Or as soon as I was on that flight, really, I could start to breathe again. And then another quick story, knowing that we don't have a lot of time. Um, when I was on the Amtrak from Chicago down to Macomb, I saw a guy walk through the aisle, walk past me, and that was Kyle. And so I knew of Kyle because he does Backyard Survivor in Australia. And so I knew the face because I had a friend that played on Backyard Survivor. And so I watched a couple of the seasons. So I knew the face, but I didn't really clock who it was straight away. I'm like, I recognize that person. I don't know where from until I started trying to go through like that facial recognition, like who could it possibly be that I know that's into Survivor that I've kind of crossed paths with or seen. And so I ended up realizing it was Kyle. And so when we got there, he had no idea who I was. I've only ever seen him on Backyard Survivor. So I'm like, hey, man, what's your name? I'm Luke. And then just wanted to see how it would go that there would be two Aussies on the season. So, yeah, that was kind of an interesting story that to me kind of stood out.
Well, during your season, because your season did have many, many memories that I can also just remember for myself. But what are some of your favorite memories from your season? And are there any particular challenges that were your favorites?
Yeah, I've got two memories that really are kind of etched into my mind. I think the first one is a challenge that Griff and I ran together, still in the tribe phase. He and I had to kind of navigate this ball through a maze, have it drop through. We had to swim across the lake, grab some rings, and then throw them up on like these nails coming out of a pole. And he and I were just so like in sync throughout that whole challenge. Like we dropped the ball through straight away. People were telling me afterwards they thought we had just dropped the ball through one of the holes that you weren't supposed to and had to restart it. So we just like flew through that. We booked it across the water, ran around, got the rings up, and I think that was one of the points in my game where I was just like, hey, me and this guy are pretty similar. We think pretty similar, and we just get along really well. And we're kind of two peas in a pod. Our minds are kind of working in the same direction. So that's one experience that I really enjoyed. And then a second one was with someone else that I was also really close in the game with, which was Ned. And so again, in the tribe phase, it was the challenge where you had to like hold the rope, stack the block, and then walk backwards, still holding the rope, like the teeter-totter, so it wouldn't spill the blocks. Before that, we were kind of strategizing what order we should go in. Of course, if you're like the least confident, maybe go first to someone that thinks they can really do it, go last. And so I had kind of clocked him for most of the try phases, like, hey, this is a guy that's really good at challenges, hand-eye coordination, looks like he had a steady hand from most of the challenges we were doing up until that point. So I'm like, hey Ned, do you mind if I know you don't really want to put names out or speak on behalf of people, but I'm like, dude, I have recognized that you're just really good at these, and I would feel so confident if you went last and sort of played that hero role and brought us home. No strategy or anything involved, just wanting to win the challenge. Um, he reluctantly said yes and went last, and we won that challenge. And he was over the moon, and he was so stoked with himself, and we were so stoked as a tribe. And he pulled me aside afterwards, and he basically said like, "Thank you so much for putting my name out and kind of put me forth to be the hero in that, because he didn't believe that he had it in him, and he said he probably wouldn't have believed that he could do it unless someone kind of instilled that level of trust uh, or instilled that level of faith, and that was kind of a bit of a human moment within the game where it's like, regardless of whether we won or lost, I could tell that that meant a lot to him, just in terms of confidence and in terms of just him really pulling a valuable moment that was special to him from the game.
Any favorite challenges and any that you're hoping to see?
I mean, I have a laundry list of the challenges that I enjoyed playing a survival challenge. I think though the ones that really stand out in my mind the most are all of the water challenges. I think something that really puts survival challenge head and shoulders above the rest is that we do have those bodies of water that we can pull from, and the pool of challenges that you can do as a result of having the water there is just so much more than what any of these other LRGs can really offer. So I think anytime the water's involved, I think you guys can get creative and really do something that other places can't, which I love. I love the water. I love to swim. So anything that involves water, I love.
So after your season, did you have any takeaways after participating in SC? Any things you learned about yourself? Obviously, you were talking about your connection that you had with Ned and with Griff. But yeah, is there anything within yourself that you might have learned post your season?
I don't know if there was anything that I really learned about myself, which is kind of a boring answer, I know. Of course, after the game finished, I rode the roller coaster of emotions, like going through the highs, going through the lows, like a couple tears, little moments of just being overjoyed and proud of myself and other people as well. I think probably the one takeaway that I'm so happy that I had in Survival Challenge was some of those relationships, and I know I've already dropped the names of Griff and Ned, and I'll do it again, but we've already hung out post game. Ned and I took a little road trip from Texas to Utah, went skiing, went snowboarding with Griff and his missus, and then just really enjoyed it this past winter. And then we road tripped back again, and then I'm going back to Australia straight after Survival Challenge finishes. Um, and sorry, not Griff, Ned is going to come over a couple weeks later, and we're going to hang out in Australia. I'll show him where I'm from, introduce him to all my mates back home, and I think that's really the most special part. Like, I mean, these games, you can play 100 of them, you can play one of them, but I think the thing that really stands out is the relationships that we can build and continue to build after the game. As that is what kind of Survivor and Survival Challenge is based upon, those relationships, and I mean, it's such a nerdy kind of interest that we all have and all share, and that's what I love, is that it's so niche and that I can be connected to so many people that I really wouldn't meet through this odd little quirky passion we've all got.
110%. All right, we're just about at time, so we're going to give you the last questions. So give us very quickly and briefly, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts as we get closer to SC unfinished business?
Yeah, in all honesty, I haven't really been able to think about it too much, just because I'm a teacher and we're coming to the end of the school year. I've got so much on my plate. But as soon as school's over, I'm switching gears quick fast, and I will be researching, watching everything I can. But I just want to go into it with a little bit more of like a mindfulness mindset, I guess. I think last time I was so in my head about strategy and there was all this anxiety that I think the weekend just flew by. And when it was over, it like I felt like I blinked and I missed it all. So I think this time I just want to kind of like, even at the sake of my own game, just dial back some of that strategicness and just really soak in the environment. It's like the mecca of Survival Challenge, really. And I just want to be present with everybody there, with everybody that I'm playing with, playing against, everybody that's behind the camera, and just soak it all in, because it won't come back again. And it already kind of makes me a little bit sad knowing that there will be an ending to it. But yeah, I just have to be mindful and enjoy the ride while it lasts.
And then very quickly, no explanation, none
Yeah.
given. Give us how you're going to go into this game with one word. If you do choose how you're going to play this season, one word, no explanation.
Relaxed.